welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. I am doing a Drivecast episode, so it might be a little noisy. White Rabbit, my 97 Pontiac, doesn't have a muffler, and it doesn't really have a radio that works, so I got like an hour drive, so it's nice to honestly use this time to do a podcast on whatever's on my mind, you know. Today I'm just going to kind of be covering some basic news that's been going on. It is conspiracy related, obviously. As far as updates and stuff on my personal life, just heading to work, you know. Been reading. I'm reading series of unfortunate events. I read the first two books when I was a kid, and I don't really like the movie or the show too much. I think they kind of butchered it, but the books are really good. So that's about it. Just work, eat, sleep, read, research, podcast. That's it. I did an episode on Hunter Biden's art exhibits, so you can, if you're whatever you're listening to us from or watching us on, you can go ahead, and it'd be better if you watched it on YouTube, because I do kind of show some of his artwork and stuff, kind of like a slideshow, and basically my idea of what it actually is, not so much the artwork, but the scheme that he's kind of pulling off. But it was funny, right after I did that episode, Hunter apparently had a gallery showing, and I thought it was funny. I didn't watch the whole video. I subscribed to NPC show on YouTube. He's this Asian dude. He kind of dabbles a little bit into conspiracy. I mean, he kind of loses me on the whole, he's like real big Republican, which is cool, but I don't know, when you're kind of black-pilled like me, you kind of figure out that it's two wings of the same bird. Like Michael Jackson said, they don't really care about us. But he covered the story of this dude basically broke into the gallery and spray painted over at least one of the paintings, is what I remember him spray painting over. And some dude tackled him and held him down and was like, citizens arrest, citizens arrest. So the cops, I guess it took the cops an hour to get there or something, because him and this dude basically had probably one of the most beta male, I guess you would call it, a wrestling match. I don't know, it's kind of sad, really. But I did think it was kind of funny. He had silly string too, so he sprayed the dude with silly string, I guess, as a defense maneuver. But he was yelling about how basically that it's what was the word? I try to remember. Pretty much money laundering. There you go. Pretty much how the art exhibit was just a money laundering scheme, which I covered that, and I truly, that's what I think it is, or exchange of illegal goods, whether they be living or inanimate objects. It's a good way to do it, you know. And as far as I know, I could be wrong, but I thought I remembered somebody saying that they're tax exempt. Art is tax exempt, which I don't understand why. I don't know, that's a whole another rabbit hole in itself of taxation being legalized theft. I'm not going down that road. But yeah, I thought that was funny. I put that episode out, and literally I think it was either the next day or 2 days after his art exhibit gets ruined. It's like, damn, I should have just waited. But there's some weird stuff going on in the news. Joe Biden, I watched. Some lady was asking him, I don't even remember the question that she was asking because his response was so weird. Instead of answering the question, I believe, I remember, the question was something about, is it true that Democrats want to defund the police? And instead of answering the question, like, I don't know, like a proper sane president would do, he responded, is it true that Republicans believe that Democrats are sucking the blood out of children? And then he just laughed and walked away. I don't know. The dude has lost his marbles. I truly believe he's not coherent enough to run a country. I mean, I don't think the dude's coherent enough to run his own life, honestly. He keeps going off script, and it's fucking hilarious because the gaffes, you know, they just entertain me. But is it true that Republicans believe Democrats are sucking the blood out of children? Well, I'll tell you what I believe. I believe that it's both Republican and Democrat. Like I said earlier, it's two wings of the same bird. You know, when a pizza fence came out, it opened a lot of people's eyes. But then I feel like the right wing, conservative, kind of Christian conservative, I guess, honestly, not trying to be mean, but like Q-tards, you know, kind of swarmed into the truth community and the conspiracy community and kind of ruined it in a way for all of us. They just kind of went wild and was like, oh, it's only the Democrats. It's a Democrat problem. But I mean, pizza fence, yes, it was good on opening a lot of people's eyes, and I'll be quite honest, QAnon in a way was a good thing. I think it's a psyop, personally. But I think it was somewhat of a good thing because it did red pill a lot of people who weren't red pilled before. Same with pizza fence, you know. It red pilled a lot of people who were blue pilled before. But being red pilled, you don't just stop at pizza fence and QAnon. There's other shit out there. You know, before pizza fence, there was the Franklin cover-up. Now, I would advise anyone who thinks that it's just a Democrat problem, that it's only the Democrats who are, you know, how can I say this without getting this video shut down? Friends of children. If you think it's just the Democrats who are friends of children, you really need to look into Franklin cover-up. Yeah, that was like George Bush Sr. Basically, most of them was Republicans. It was a senator, a black senator, who was like the up-and-coming black senator of the Republican Party, which he got off scot-free. He's now a car salesman, but I might have to do an episode on that just to kind of rub it into like the right-wing conservatives' faces of like, dude, it's two wings of the same fucking bird. It's Republicans and Democrats, man. I mean, so it's dividing and conquer is what it is. Divide and conquer. Which we're going to get a little more into divide and conquer in a little while. But then, Biden, you gotta love him. You gotta love him. He goes off script, makes a fool of himself. I'm sure his handlers are like, dude, just shut the fuck up, man. Do what we tell you to do. Say what we tell you to say. But he has this, I don't know what you would call it. Let me light a cigarette real quick. He has this big speech that he does. And the dumb fuck doubles down and brings it up again during the speech. The first weird thing that he said was, I don't care if you like, or I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you believe that I'm Satan reincarnated. And I don't know about you, but I mean, if I had like literally the entire like United States watching me and I'm being a president, you would be under the microscope. And you already got QAnon people who apparently are still trusting the plan. And you're literally saying you don't care if they believe you're Satan reincarnated. I don't know, I would just leave words and people or characters like Satan out of it. It's just my advice. I mean, you don't have to follow it, but that's what I would do. I wouldn't even bring up Satan. I mean, he does forget the word for God, though, which is hilarious. So, he remembered Satan. He remembered what Satan's name was, but what did he say when he was talking about God? You know that thing. I'm not even religious, but even I was like, did this motherfucker just forget the word God? Do you mean God, Mr. President? But yeah, he doubles down on it, says that, and then he brings up QAnon. Like, somebody made a good point that I was listening to. If you're not guilty of anything, the best thing to do would just be ignore it. You know, and I've said that before of like, you know, like people accusing Ellen DeGeneres and Tom Hanks of stuff. And Tom Hanks, he actually ignored it. It was like Chet Hanks that literally made the conspiracy theorist accuse him even more by acting a fool on like Instagram or whatever. One of the sites, I can't remember. But yeah, if you're under the, you know, someone's magnifying glass and the whole country's watching you, especially these QAnon people, I don't know, I would just kind of ignore it, you know? I feel like that would be the best way to handle that type of shit. But, so yeah, he brings up QAnon. And this guy, man, he digs himself. He just digs and digs and digs deeper, man. Digs his own grave. Then he says, he brings up the blood drinking again. Says that, you know, people believe that we eat children and drink their blood and stuff. And, like, the audience is just looking at him like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was odd. And I'm not saying I believe, you know, I mean, I'll tell you exactly what I personally believe. I believe that after reading like the WikiLeaks emails and stuff like that, I think they're into some weird shit. I don't really think it's Satanism. For some reason, I think they use Satan as like a scapegoat. I believe these people worship, honestly, like Baal and Moloch, like old ancient Phoenician Canaanite deities, you know, which do require child sacrifice. So that's just my personal belief. Now, if you're going to ask for evidence of it, I mean, there is those 9 suicided cops who had Anthony Weiner's laptop, which literally said the footage on there was so disgusting that they had to leave the room to throw up. All of them had to get mental help afterwards, and 9 of them mysteriously killed themselves. I don't know. Think for yourself. I just thought that was interesting. Something else strange that's been going on in the news. All these world leaders think it was like the prime minister or president, the leader of like Haiti, several other, I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but there's several world leaders who have been assassinated here recently. And just speaking of suicides and deaths, and they all had one thing in common, was they weren't towing the line, the mainstream narrative that there's a beer bug going on and we need to all drink a wizard potion, you know. I thought that was curious, just a little tidbit of something I've been digging around. But I was saying earlier, two wings of the same bird. You know, united we stand, divided we fall. They're trying to conquer and divide right now. And this is really one of the main things I wanted to talk about that's been going on here recently. All this stuff comes out so quick, it's hard to keep up with it all. And I've been wanting to do an episode on this for a minute, but I just haven't had the time. Door-to-door knocking is now a new thing. And there is footage out there of them doing this. Jin Saki, Lizard Girl, has even said that this is something they're going to start doing. Now, there's one thing that kind of bothers me. If they're doing door-to-door knocking on unveed people, that means there's a list of people who haven't drank the wizard potion. And I don't know, I mean, we put out episodes every now and then on BitChute, and I know there's a lot of anti-Semitism there. I could care less what you guys think about who runs the world. There's a difference between, you know, Hebrews and Jews, and there's a difference between Khazarian and Jews. These people like the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, they're not real Jews, they're Khazarians. So, I mean, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, go for it. Educate yourself, but once again, scapegoats, you know. Use the Jews as a scapegoat. Use Satan as a scapegoat. These people are Khazarians, dude, and they're Baal worshippers. That's just my opinion. But speaking of, like, Jews and Holocaust and all that, I don't know, it just seems kind of weird. Like, I'm not super bright. I know a lot of mainstream history is either fake or we've been lied to about everything, you know? So it is kind of hard to dissect what is true and what's not. I usually kind of say a prayer of, you know, Creator of all, give me discernment to dissect the truth from the false, and kind of show me what's true. And I just like to share my opinion on stuff. But, you know, I've always been very interested in World War II history and stuff. And I don't know, just the whole door-to-door thing just kind of reminded me of it, you know? For some reason, it just seems a little scary to me, and no one else is really bringing it up. First off, with the list. So that means there's a list out there of unveed and veed people. Why is that? First of all, is that even legal, for one? Last time I checked, my medical history is supposed to be between me and my doctor. And that's not getting brought up. Second off, for some reason it has become normal for people to just ask about your medical history now. You know, I gotta, every time I've filled out an application for jobs, the only question they really ask about medical information is, you know, do you have any health problems that could hinder you from working? or anything that we should keep our eye out for. Like here lately, for any time I've applied to a job, because I had a head injury and I have had seizures, so I'm kind of prone to seizures. That's the only thing I've ever said was like, hey, just keep an eye on me, you know, like if for some reason I'm laying in the middle of the aisle and, you know, spit's coming out of my mouth and I'm just shaking, you know why, you know? But yeah, that's the only time I believe that your employer, I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy, maybe I'm just misremembering things, but I'm pretty sure that's the only time they ask you about your medical history. I just find it bizarre how that's become like a normal thing. Like people posting online and bragging about how they drank the wizard potion. It just, the whole thing seems surreal to me. Like, I mean, it's cool if you want to share your medical history and shit, but that would be like me posting on Facebook, which I don't have one, of like, hey, I went to the doctor today, you know, I got an STD test, I'm perfectly good. Like, no one gives a fuck about your medical history. I don't give a fuck about it. Why? That doesn't affect me. You know, the only time, like, the last and probably one of the very few times that I remember that someone's medical history affected me in any way was, I was staying with this dude for a little bit. Me and Sammy were couch surfing, and we were working on a toolbox, you know. And he accidentally cut himself, and me, like, I don't know. I mean, me and the dude were super tight, and I can honestly say, like, I love this dude. You know, I love him like a father figure. You know. My dad was a crummy dad, is a crummy dad. He's in prison right now, so, you know, like, I had my dad growing up, but, you know, when I was a teenager, him and my mom split up, and he's not a good dude. He was never really that good of a father growing up, you know. I believe he tried, but, so I don't know, like, I've found other elderly men who I don't know I've kind of clung to and become attached to as like father figures, you know. But me and him were just chilling, and he accidentally busted a knuckle or something. It was, I don't know, I guess where he's an older dude, he's got thin blood or something, was just bleeding all over the fucking place. But I'm kind of like, I used to be a punk rock singer, so I'm kind of a heathen. I'm kind of like, blood, guts, snot, spit, that shit doesn't really bother me. So I just worked through it. Me and him just had blood covered all over our hands and shit. And he didn't think about it, and I didn't think about it. And he's like, oh, make sure to wash your hands. And I'm like, yeah, of course. And he said he had hepatitis C. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, fuck. You know, it didn't even cross my mind, you know. But I mean, I didn't have any open sores, any open cuts. I just washed my hands and went about my day. Like, that was like probably one of the very few times that anyone's medical history ever really fucking mattered to me. Or, you know, if you got a sexual partner that you guys are dating, and you know, you're about ready to move on to that next phase of the relationship of, you know, getting it on. You know, it's normal to have a sit-down conversation and be like, hey, you know, are you ready to have sex? And do you have anything? Blah, blah, blah. Besides those rare occasions, my fucking medical history is no one's business. And it kind of bothers me that this has become their new norm. I'm not saying it's my new norm, because I don't consent to this weird new world that they've got planned for us. I don't consent, you know. I'm in this world, I'm not of it. But yeah, I mean, like, I had an incident the other day, and it doesn't, I like the dude. It was an older dude. He's a coach. So, I mean, he kind of has that attitude of, hey, did you take the wizard potion yet? And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm perfectly healthy. And honestly, I would have really, my response, if I didn't like the guy, my response in my head as a coworker was like, I literally wanted to turn around and just be like, are you fucking dumb? You think I'm fucking stupid? Why would I take, first of all, let's not call it the V word because it's not. Why would I take that over something that has a 99.96 survival rate? Yeah, no, I'm good. Why would you first of all assume, I mean, fuck it. At that point, I'd almost be SJW, like, I'm triggered now, motherfucker. Like, why would you assume that I can take it? You don't know my religion. So for all these, like, world leaders who are just like, we need 100% of everyone to take it, why do you assume my religion? Why do you assume my spirituality that you think I can take it, for one? Don't assume. Two, like, you know, how do you know my health condition? I have autoimmune deficiency, motherfucker. I can't take that shit. My autoimmune system is already compromised, so why would I compromise it more? That just makes zero fucking sense. But you know, no sense makes sense nowadays, as Charles Manson says. You know? But I don't know, the audacity of a coworker to ask me my medical history, my medical status. You know, that'd be like me going up to a female coworker and being like, so are you on your period today? Do you have a tampon in? That's her medical information. I don't need to know. That's the audacity, man. The audacity of these people. And it's divide and conquer, man, is what it's heading to. Because now they got this new thing. They're talking it's a pandemic of the unveed. And I knew this would happen, man. Somebody put out a meme the other day that was awesome. It was conspiracy theorists should not be called conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theories should not be called conspiracy theories anymore. They should just be called spoiler alerts. And I know I sound like a broken record, but you know, us wearing tinfoil hats, we've been right this whole fucking time since this whole shit began. We've been right. You know, it's time for these Blue Anon SJW sheeple to start looking towards us, and I don't know, they should probably start listening. That would be wise advice. But yeah, pandemic of the unveed. I knew they would blame us. As soon as this D variant came out, I was like, oh no. You know, the wizard potion rolled out, everybody started taking it, and then all of a sudden the D variant comes out, and I'm like, these motherfuckers are gonna blame us. It's divide and conquer, dude. You're either V'd or unV'd. I drew my line in the sand, you know. And there's a dude I listen to, Martin Liedeke. His channel's Flat Earth British. He also has another channel called Celtic Tartarian. I'm not a flat earther. I'm not a round earther. I'm kind of agnostic on it. But I like watching his stuff because he covers what's going on now and how it literally ties in with kind of like Tartarian theory, you know, mud flood theory and all that. But yeah, it's divide and conquer, dude. And he says the moment that one of these like SJW, like Blue Anon sheeple, the moment that they kill or harm an unvied person, he says he calls it an act of war. You have committed an act of war, and you motherfuckers who are V'd, we're coming for you, dude. And I don't, you know, I don't promote violence, but I kind of agree with him on that. You've committed an act of war. It's time. Lines have been drawn, and you crossed the line, you know, and it will happen. You watch, you know. They've already divided and conquered with left and right wing, blue anon and QAnon, black versus white, black and white versus Asian. That's all it is. Gay versus straight, you know. And now it's V versus unV'd. And we're getting blamed. We are getting blamed for everyone who is catching, you know, the beer bug now. And it pisses me off, dude. And I knew this would happen. Like I said, man, this is all the same shit that happened in World War II, man. Where's your papers? Knocking on doors. Where's your papers? Motherfucker. But back to the door knocking thing. We need to figure out what to do. I have a couple ideas. Lie. And honestly, I know if you're a Christian listener, you know, I welcome you to the channel. We all disagree, but I believe in uniting rather than dividing. We agree on some things and disagree on others. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what makes America, and honestly the world, a beautiful place. We need to figure out what to do. And I'm thinking lie to these motherfuckers. It would be a white lie. I don't know. I think it would be a white lie. But I'm just going to tell them I drank the wizard potion. Mess up their numbers. Make sure they don't come back knocking. You know? If you jack up their numbers enough, their little list that they got going on, it's all going to be fucked. You know? That's just an idea. I don't know. Other people have put other ideas of like no soliciting signs, but apparently their script was leaked and they're like told to just sit there and basically solicit, to ignore the no trespassing signs, ignore the no soliciting signs. So I hear all these macho tough guys that are like, oh, I'll blow their brains out. They'll hear a shotgun. No, you ain't gonna do nothing. At this point, people are so bark.